Good afternoon and welcome to the Bellefleur Tire Shop Grand Falls Greenfoot Rapids pregame show. It's Sunday, which means it's hockey day in Grand Falls. And the Bellefleur Lightning have made the trek all the way up from Bathurst to face off against the first place Greenfoot Rapids. So here's the situation. We're going to get into a lot of the stats, the storylines, and everything like that. And we're going to talk a lot about what today means in terms of the matchup and in terms of how the standings could potentially be affected by a win from each side. So first off, before we do anything else, we're going to get right into the stats. You know what time it is. It's tail of the tape time. The Grand Falls Greenfoot Rapids 10-4-2 on the season. The Bellefleur Lightning 10-7-2. The Rapids, or the Bellefleur Lightning with the game in hand on the Rapids. Ben Cross leading the way for them in goals with 15. Nathan Plemondalmicho with 9 for the Rapids. And then Jack Hain with assists and total points with 20 assists and 28 total points. On the other hand, Zachary Michaud with 13 assists and 20 points together. So, man, oh man, a rookie youngster is leading the team. There's so much to talk about with that. But first, we're going to just continue to dissect the matchup here. So, the goals for and the goals against very similar, somewhat anyway, in terms of the goals for. 69 goals for the Lightning and 68 goals for the Rapids, which, all things considered, is actually quite surprising when you really think about how strong of a team Bellefleur is in terms of their goal scoring and their point scoring. It's surprising to see that they only have one more goal than the Rapids do. But nonetheless, this is where things get a little bit more tricky. The goal differential is only +1 for Bellefleur, and on Grand Falls' end, it's +18. They've only got 50 goals against this season because of their strong goaltending and incredible defense as well. So that will play a factor into tonight's game, I'm sure, as well. Now the power play and the penalty kill percentage. So the Bellefleur Lightning, third place on the power play, sitting at 19.4%. Grand Falls, on the other hand, 22.4%, sitting in first place in the East League North Division. The Lightning, 73.8% on the penalty kill. That is sixth place. And the Rapids, 84.7% at second place in the East League North Division. So those are the stats. And I think special teams-wise, Bellefleur is a lot weaker than Grand Falls. Power play, not so much. I mean, it's pretty close, that dividing the power play and the Rapids power play. But when it comes to special teams, it's night and day, because the Rapids have been so much better on both the power play and the penalty kill. Their goaltenders have been extremely solid, and hence why you saw that their goals against were not as high as Bellefleur's are. But this, again, is going to be a big test for the Rapids as well here, because, again, like I said, they're only 2 points ahead of the Bellefleur Lightning. So we'll dissect the matchup a little bit. So the Rapids have been playing well recently. Gained a point in the loss to West Kent on Friday night, ended up losing to the Miramichi Timberwolves, so not as well as they would like to play, but they've still not been playing horrible. So the last time that these two teams played each other was in Bathurst last Friday night. The Rapids came away with a 5-3 win, and the last time that Bellefleur was here in Grand Falls, it was 7-4 that first time that they came to town. So the Lightning are a strong team, but they're coming off a 6-2 loss to the Truro Bearcats yesterday, and before that, they ended up coming off of a big game, and that's something that's really going to rattle the cage a little bit for the Rapids, I think, because this is going to be an opportunity for Grand Falls to kind of exploit the Lightning in the way, because in their last 4 games, they're 0-4, whereas the Rapids are 0-1-1, losing their last 2, but they're 5-4-1-0 in their last 10. The Lightning, on the other hand, are 5-5-0. But in their last 4 games, before that they were 5-1, and now they're 5-4. So, or 5-5. So again, that's going to be a big thing for Bellefleur, is capitalize on taking advantage of the Rapids when they make those mistakes and making sure that you get on the board first. We've talked about that multiple times during the course of the season so far for the Rapids. And you look at the head-to-head matchups, right? These two teams, when Chaleur came here on September 28th, it was a 7-4 win for Grand Falls. And the Rapids struck on the board first. It wasn't like they came from behind and, struck back and tied the game after the first goal was scored. They came out and they dominated first. And that's exactly what we need to see from them. Previous head-to-head, we're going to take a look at the top performers from that game. The last time that Chaleur was here, and that was Luc Francoeur with 2 goals, Zachary Michaud with a goal and an assist, and Braden Campbell, same thing. And for the Lightning, on the other hand, Carter Bromley with 2 goals and 1 assist as well. So those players are going to be a huge X factor in how this matchup goes, but we're going to keep it rolling here. So storylines. The battle of the top of the division, the clash of both first and second place. We talked about that a little bit earlier in the episode. There's only 2 points that are separating the Rapids from 4th place, where Chaleur is right now after Edmundston and Campbellton both gained a point. Edmundston with the win last night, and Campbellton obviously gained a point as well. So they now only sit 1 and 2 points respectively behind the Grand Falls Rapids for first place in the East League North Division. Very, very tight. Like the Rapids this season, at the beginning of the year, you saw them go on that 8-game home winning streak. Now, yes, they did end up losing the last 2 games at home, but they will rebound from it, and that's something that we've seen them do time and time again. You can't win every game at home. I think it was slated you were not going to go undefeated at home this season, but nonetheless, they were able to pull themselves into overtime last game. They gained a point out of it, and it's something that I'm sure a lot of people are going to be very excited to see here. Chaleur is going to want this game as well, on the other hand, because, like I said, they're 0-4 in their last 4 games, and they're going to come out hungry. But it's all about how the Rapids are able to stun and stop them first and get on the board first to halt that momentum so that they won't have to play catch-up not really play catch-up, but they won't have to have such a close game like they did against the West Kent Steamers on Friday night. You saw that where they were trading punches back and forth. They got on the board first. West Kent struck back. They scored the go-ahead, and so on and so forth, until it got to overtime, and, well, the Steamers, obviously, as we know, got the win. So that's going to be a big thing tonight here, too, is just get on the board first. Player matchups. We talked about this earlier in the season as well. Jack Hain, Ben Cross, those 2 guys are obviously the team leader. Ben Cross with goals with 15, and then Jack Hain leading not just leading the team, but leading, I believe he's top 5 in the league as well in terms of points. So you want to shut him down, you want to shut Cross down, and that's going to be where the Rapids really excel, because a team that is this defensively structured, especially with guys on the back end like Matt Sear, Anton Topolnitsky, Isaac Allard, Jack Brown, just to name a few of them, this team has got a lot of great defense on their side. And the more that they're able to go out there and shut down Chaleur, the better it's going to be for them, because they're going to win those matchups, right? They're going to win those defensive foot races to get the icing calls, or to make sure that they're holding guys like Jack Hain to the outside of the blue line and not letting them get that offensive zone pressure like they did. And that's something that they are 100% able to do. So the Lightning, on the other hand, we talked about the Rapids and how they went on that 8-game win streak at home. They lost their last 2 at home. This is where Chaleur, however, is accelerating. They, in the early stages of the season, they went 7-2 on the road. So similar to what the Rapids did, they ended up going 7-0 on the road, and they've lost 2 games on the road since then. And this kind of, in my eyes, balances things out a little bit, because they were at home last night to face off against Truro. They ended up losing that game as well, and the game before that, they ended up losing on home ice as well. So this is where it kind of balances out, right? Because the Rapids have that great home record, and the Lightning have that great away record. So there's that little bit of that kind of even balance to it, which I think is kind of, in a way, not poetic, but it kind of just completes the matchup even further. Defense versus offense. When these 2 teams last met, we talked about that. Chaleur has 69 goals in 17 games. So they are in the top 3% of the league in terms of goals for. I believe that they're only trailing behind Summerside, and yeah, that's it. They're within the top 2 in the league. They're second place overall in goals scored for the league, behind Summerside with 70, and behind them is Grand Falls with 68. So you look at how close the goal differential is and how much these guys have scored, it's a lot closer than you think. And that may not seem like a big stat, but it really is, because you look at a team, like I was saying, like Chaleur, who's been producing on offense all the time. Then you got Grand Falls, who has not allowed as many goals as they have. They've got that solid defensive structure, and they're not afraid to go out there and play to the best of their ability every single night. So it's going to be a battle of both teams that want this win. It's going to be a battle of both teams that want to get into that first place spot. For the Rapids, it's about putting a little bit more distance between them and now the Edmonton Blizzard, who have climbed up into second place. But it's also about, the scoring trio for the Lightning versus the solid defense of Grand Falls and the solid goaltending of Grand Falls. Plus, you have a very well-rounded offense as well that you've got guys you can rely on. Not necessarily like a whole team of superstars, and that's something that you are perfect, like that you don't need like an all-star team, and this team's proven it, because you have several solid top end talent that you can use on all four lines, and that's something that I really, really like that they're able to do. So you have those three superstars in Hayne, Rushton, and in Hayne, Rushton, and Cross that Chaleur has, and that's really their X factor for the Rapids. They've got a little bit of everything, right? They've got that solid offense from guys like Jonah Leard, Braden Campbell, solid face-offs from Declan Kennedy, from guys like Loic Francoeur, and then on the back end, you've got some real solid defense in Isaac Allard and Jack Brown. On the back end, you have Adam LaCour and Jeremy Thibodeau-Soucy, who have played great games so far as well. So it's really going to be a battle of elite defense versus elite offense. And that's something that's going to add to things a little bit as well. So with that said, we'll dive into a little bit of the special stats as well. So this is what I find interesting about this as well. There's 82 penalty minutes between these two teams so far in the games this season. And on those penalties, Chaleur is 0 for 7 on the power play. They have not scored a power play goal against the Rapids yet. Grand Falls, on the other hand, is 2 for 4. So they're 50% on the power play, which has been very, very good. We've already talked about how they've started to rebound, and the power play is starting to look a lot scarier than it was at the beginning of the season. So with that said, this is going to be a very, I would expect an intense battle. I don't think it's going to be a very high-scoring affair. I think it'll be very close. Like we saw last game, it was extremely close up until overtime. And I would expect no less from this as well. It's going to be a physical game. I mean, these two teams, again, division rivals who are battling for the top spot. You're going to see some big hits thrown. You're going to see some chippiness from each side. And that's exactly what you want to see in these rivalry games. Now, with that said, I'll leave it up to you who you think is going to prevail. I personally have my opinions, but I'm not going to be a little biased here, so I'll leave that to you. Comment down below what you think the final score of the game is going to be, and maybe you'll get featured on the post-game show as well. So, with that said, that was the matchup for this game against Chaleur, and now I want to talk about a couple of things in terms of other news, and we're going to reveal the Heat Index Player of the Week as well for the Rapids. So, but first, the East Coast Prospects Showcase. So this is going to be Team MHL versus the Quebec AAA Junior A League, and that is going to be happening at the Pictou County Wellness Center on Wednesday night, which is November 5th. Now, this is basically, if you haven't heard about it, it's a showcase between the league's top prospects for each league, the Quebec AAA League and the MHL as well. So this is going to be a game where I'm sure it's going to be like an all-star type game. That's going to be very fun to watch. Now, one of the big things is that the Rapids have one player going and the Lightning have 3 players going, right? So starting off with Grand Falls, Zach Michaud, who has been fantastic so far this season. 20 points to start off his career with the Rapids. Got selected for the Prospects game, and then for the Lightning, it's Carter Bromley, Jack Hayne, and Zach Rushton. Those three top stars who are on Chaleur's team headed to the Prospect Showcase as well. So, not to say that Chaleur doesn't have as many superstars, but it's very much like those 3 players are a big chunk of why their offense is doing so good. But with Grand Falls, on the other hand, like I said, has that real well-rounded structure. And that's something that we can all admire. But with those 4 players going from each respective side, it's going to be very fun. I know that I'm going to be watching it on Flow Sports. I won't be able to attend the game, but I definitely will be watching. So it's going to be one of those things. We saw the All-Star game last year in Edmonton, and it was very fun. It was super cool to go and be able to see it in person. And I think this is going to be no less. So I'm Team MHL. I know that for sure. But this is going to be a real fun, exciting, kind of a little bit of a break from the competitiveness that we've seen in our league this season. And I like the fact that it's going inter-league now. So it's the battle of the Quebec AAA team, or the battle of the Quebec AAA League, which is another Junior A part of the CJHL, versus the Maritime Junior Hockey League as well. So it's going to be real fun. I'm excited. And you should be too. Make sure to watch the game on Wednesday night. It's going to be a real exciting one. Now, the final order of business I know that I'm sure a lot of you have been waiting for, and that is the Rapids Heat Index Player of the Week. So without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, this week's Heat Index Player of the Week. All right, so we talked about it earlier this week, how there's going to be a lot of great players on this team that deserve the Heat Index Player of the Week. But this week, I think I'm going to give the Heat Index Player of the Week to Julien Avignon-Bourque. Had 3 assists in 3 games played. But not just that. We talk about how it's more than just the points, right? It's the intangibles. It's stuff like blocked shots. It's stuff like creating chances on the forecheck, making sure that you're getting a good back check in, right? It's stuff like that. And one of the reasons why it wasn't just for the points, but it was the multiple shot blocks. You look at the game against West Kent, he had 4 blocked shots, and a big reason why he was able to earn the Heat Index Player of the Week for this week was that game-saving shot block against the West Kent Steamers late in the third that actually would have seen the Steamers potentially win the game before the end of regulation time. So with that said, I think that was a huge part of why I think he deserves those honors and why he's just such an important part of this Rapids defense core. So Julien Avignon-Bourque, the Rapids Heat Index Player of the Week, and, well, I guess Defenseman of the Week too. So this is a huge honor. Congratulations, Julien, on a big honor for the Heat Index Player of the Week. Well deserved, and we're looking forward to see what you can do for the rest of the season. I know for one thing, I'm going to be excited watching this game and seeing how things go. I'm going to go and start getting ready for the game. There's going to be a lot of surprises here in Grand Falls. Chaleur, Grand Falls, puck drop, 3 o'clock. Winner takes over top spot. If it's the Rapids, they put some distance between them and Edmonton. If it's Chaleur, they move in to first place. Cheer on your Rapids, make some noise, and let's hear it loud. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button, hit the little bell notification for all future content, and keep tuned to the channel for all of the exciting stuff that's coming very soon.